Good morning. Welcome to Studio 365, powered by tablethink. My name is Joshua, and I'm here in the studio with Pastor Kerrie Palmer as we have actually made it to the middle of the week.
It's a good place, and if people could see what happens behind the scenes.
If they could. There is a lot of shenanigans that happens
really
behind the scenes. And, that's just the way it is. But the good news is that today is Wednesday, and you know what that means, right?
I do. You cheer us on.
Yeah, so for Wednesdays, I have to bring my ukulele and, play a little Hawaiian tune. I'm still learning. My ultimate is to learn, that song, Dueling Banjos?
Sure, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
Dueling ukuleles?
I'll figure it out. Yeah. So I think dueling ukuleles would be fun. And, wow, that didn't sound good. But, so anyway, so I'm going to keep working. Awesome. And eventually we'll have an awesome, ukulele party. So
we may make a whole new event in the whole world of saying middle of the week.
We could, yes. That would be awesome because it is a great day.
It is, and we have so many good things coming up. And do you want to explain a little bit about why we've kind of inserted this new series on fear?
Sure, yeah. So, a lot of stuff is going on in the world around us. If you watch the news, if you kind of get online, there's a lot of things that have happened, both not just in our country, but in the world. And there's a lot of things that you could be scared and kind of fearful of. And so we wanted to kind of do a series to basically kind of help guide everyone through that and maybe talk about some different ways that you can deal with it, and also get into some practical things that you can do to prepare for things so that you don't have to be fearful.
Right. What we have talked about here around in Studio 365 is that, to stay with that positivity, let's help people, give some tools and techniques of how to not only manage fear, but be prepared for those times, whatever it is, whether it's something that just happens to you personally or in your community and beyond.
Right.
And so one of those things, of course, is having God words within us. And, I don't talk a lot about memorizing very often, but I've got one for us to really get to know that's good for all ages to learn. It's from Romans 8:31. It's the second part of it. And it goes like this: if God is for us, who can ever be against us? And just kind of to put it down into words of being able to memorize it is, if God is for me, who can be against me? And just let that echo into our soul, and to understand that regardless of what's happening, God is for you.
Right.
God's going to move you through it. That fear is not the story, that God is the story, and that God has something more for us. And so whatever that is, you begin with that. You begin speaking that into yourself and into your household and move through that. And then the second part is, let's get prepared. And Joshua, a lot of people might not know about this, but you are a prepared expert. You want to explain that?
Yeah, I guess I've had kind of a long fascination with it. And some of it may be, I actually grew up along the New Madrid Fault, which everyone is saying is someday going to be like the big earthquake of the South.
Oh, wow.
And we had this guy predicted on a certain date that there was going to be this earthquake, and like school got out. I mean, it was crazy, but awesome. I remember getting prepared. It fortunately did not happen, and we kind of know that we can't predict those things, but I've always been really interested in that. And so I actually started a company called First Aid Survival, and we have a website at firstaidsurvival.com. And what we do is we make and sell survival kits. And so kind of everything from just kind of a one-person kit that you could just kind of have with you, to a big family kit to put in a car, all kinds of things. And sort of what I tell people is that, you don't need to be fearful of things. But if you're not prepared, then maybe you do need to have a little bit of fear to motivate you to make sure you have something. Because once you have those bases covered, then you don't have to worry about it, and you've been really smart, and you know that things are going to be covered. So, if you're going to be in a blackout or something, well, you need to have matches and candles and flashlights and that kind of thing. So kind of all of our kits make sure to cover those bases. So we want to have 3-day supply of food and water and some of those basic supplies, because you don't know in a disaster or an emergency or something if you're going to have access to that stuff. So you want to have it in some kind of kit, whether you buy that from a company or you build it yourself. You want to make sure that you have those bases covered.
Right. I think that to manage fear is to be smart. And I am a planner, a list maker, and I think that if we can kind of reduce people's stress and worry. If something happens, you're prepared. So let's go through. We're going to every day have kind of a tip from Joshua.
Okay.
And so today, that first thing is, what would be the first thing that we need to do to get prepared?
Yeah, I would say try to put together some type of kit. So buy a kit, get a kit, and just make sure that you've covered that basic, because then you're going to be good. So if you're covered spiritually and you know that you can trust in God, and you're covered physically you've got food, water, and the basic things, then you've really done a lot that should kind of help ease your fear. And I always tell people, this is kind of another fun thing, to have something fun in your kit for that time.
I love that.
Yeah, so we actually, most of our kits include like a deck of playing cards and maybe a children's toy or something. But go ahead and have something like that so that it's not a bad time. We don't have to always fear these things. You can make it through them. So.
Right. So on all of our other shows, we're going to have kind of little tips and helping so that we can talk to one another and even our children, and helping everyone to reduce the fear by having a plan.
Totally.
And so I'm excited to think about the fact that we have something that could really help people. So Joshua and friends, I will talk to you tomorrow in Studio 365.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of Studio 365. We hope that you have enjoyed this episode and take a little time to get prepared so that you do not have to have fear. Hey, we will see you right back here tomorrow for another episode of Studio 365.